Hello everyone and welcome back to G Crochet Off the Hook. It's already the first week of April and I have a feeling that April is going to live up to something a neighbor in Germany used to say to me, which was round about this time of the year. She would say, April macht was es will, which was translated to us speaking about the weather, and she was saying that during April the weather does what it wants, which was very true, because sometimes we had snow and sometimes we had a normal cold frosty morning, and sometimes it was just a beautiful day. So I feel like April has started off something like that, not just weather-wise, but everything that's been happening in around where I stay. It's been rather adventurous this week, to say the least. And I thought I wouldn't speak about it, so I'm not really going to explain it, but I am going to just mention that in our lovely South Africa, we do have something called load shedding, where the power company, there is only one, experiences difficulties with supplying enough power to everybody in the country, and they also have a lot of fixes they need to do when things break down. And for that, for a number of years now, we have been delegated stages and groups depending on where you live, and when they need to call for it, your particular group will be shut down without electricity for about 2.5 hours at a time, and that can be sometimes twice, 3 times, even 4 times a day. The town that I live in, unfortunately, when we do experience these little load shedding dramas, the infrastructure is not so great, and our power might not come back for a few days, and that affects the water because the pumps can't run, so then different areas don't receive water. A lot of drama. It started up in February, very briefly, tried to ignore it and laugh it off. March we had one day, I think, or it was a day, but then it was called off. Anyway, and due to all those dramas, internet service is disrupted. You know, it's drama, so we just have to live with it. But April has started out very adventurous. Our little town that we live in, we also were sort of blocked in. People couldn't get to work out of our little town because there was a strike because of the effects that certain things have made infrastructure very precarious and so forth. So yeah, just a lot of drama. I'm very grateful that my eldest is on leave for a week, so she didn't have to be on the roads, and my youngest could fortunately work from home that particular day. But then the rest of your week is a little out of sync, and it takes you a while to sort of find your rhythm and be back in your routine. So with that being said, this was the first moment I could catch to just chat with you guys and show you how even my crochet projects are seeming to choose their own routes and do what it is that they feel like doing. Let's start with, and because I am doing it on Friday, these little guys are heading home. They'll be delivered tomorrow. I did finish this gorgeous lion. He really has come into his own. That's what I love about our crochet projects, is we have our basic patterns and instructions to follow, and then as we create them, we add our own little touches, and we have a beautiful little character emerge. So just the ends for the zebra needed to be weaved in, and so he is complete, and his buddy the lion is also complete. So this safari duo is traveling tomorrow to be dropped off with my friend, who will be sending it on with her son-in-law, I believe, and it will be reaching her granddaughter, who is going to have the great grandbaby later on this year. Great. Then the next thing, I did want to mention this a little bit earlier, but I am truly not skilled in this particular craft, and I decided, yes, that say something, we can say something, but we don't judge sort of thing, will spread out into our community here too. So I did take up a challenge that Pamela from Ginger Cat Crochet shared with us, and I'll share the link to that video where she talks about it, called #Try Something New Today. And I really knew, as I heard her speaking about the craft kits that she had picked up, that I had something on a shelf from 2 Christmases ago, which is this cross stitch for this beautiful chameleon. And that was my moment to take charge and crack the box for this kit and read up on what it was I would need to do to tackle this project. Now, I have much to learn. I've cross-stitched once, maybe a long time ago. Definitely wasn't on this. And let's not judge all the pronunciations that may not be coming across too correctly. I think this is Ada, the cloth. This is a very fine material with really itsy bitsy teeny little holes. And yes, it is already pre-colored. So that would sound really great. And the colors correspond with little symbols that shows you what color to use. And I'm showing that totally back to front. There's the symbols. And there are 3 of these little cards with the floss, a new word I learned, thread, floss. So you would think, painting by numbers. But there was a lot that I had to sort of bring myself up to speed on. And I did, over a few days, try something new. And I have completed the first little section, which is this butterfly. Now, I'm rather proud of it. I'll try and insert a picture. I did put one on Instagram when I initially started with it. The back is extremely messy, but it's okay. Everything is secure. And I think every time I pick this up during the course of the year, I will try to work on choosing maybe another butterfly. There are already so many color changes in just one little project. It is most probably on an advanced level for me, but I'm up for the challenge and I'm going to continue to pick it up and experiment with it during the course of the year. So I'm really grateful that people come up with great ideas like saying #try something new today, because it sort of gives you that encouragement of knowing that perhaps somebody else out there has also decided to pick up something, whatever it is for them that's new, and they gave it a shot. And sometimes that's all we need to kickstart us to doing something. Now, I do want to share, while I was working on this, obviously, I had to have a few 101 cross stitch YouTube videos so that I could really familiarize myself with what I was doing. There was a cool tool that they have in cross stitching, which is to sort of keep an eye or a handle on where your needle is. You get sort of a metal, different, it looks like you can get anything, a teddy bear, a mushroom, a butterfly, a metal structure that you would put onto the front of your cross stitch work, and then attach a magnet at the back, and then boom, you'd pop your needle on there. So every time you needed to perhaps change your floss, set down your project, you would just let your needle find its way onto that magnet there. Now, of course, I'm not rushing out to buy a whole lot of new tools. I have enough crafting things lying around the house for various crafts. But of course, because we are crafters, we don't mind MacGyvering something for ourselves. So I was, and I did also show this on Instagram, making these little Tunisian butterflies. And here's just a couple, how they turned out. And I was attaching magnets to them at the back. Little fridge magnets or project boards that people have, little metal project boards in their rooms or their studies. So I was working on this already, or had finished a couple of them, and I decided, well, that might be my solution to this crafty tool that you have in cross stitching, of a magnet on your work to keep your needle safe. And I decided to thread my needle through one of my little butterflies that has a magnet on it. And when I changed floss or needed to put it down, I could keep my needle safe and attached to my cross stitch project. So anyway, there we go. So a little bit of MacGyvering with what we have around us, and it's worked really well for me. So that's my hashtag try something new today. Do you want to try something new today? See what you have lying around and give it a shot. Right, and next, staying with Pamela from Ginger Cat Crochet. I haven't really been able to partake in some of these crochet alongs that our fellow YouTubers have. Often I don't have the book, if they're working from a book, or it's not really something that I'm able to get a hold of in my neck of the woods. But I had been watching Pamela when she originally announced watching Wallace and Gromit's Vengeance Most Foul, and my family and I had watched that during the December holidays. Love a good Wallace and Gromit to keep you giggling, good clean fun. And Pamela had a hashtag by hook or by crook, and on the last week, all the entries needed to be in by the 31st of March. As I was going through YouTube, I had a Wallace and Gromit Feathers McGraw pattern pop up for the penguin Feathers McGraw. So I jumped into doing the penguin, which turned out really cute. And of course, to match with Wallace and Gromit, he had to be dressed in character, Mr. Feathers McGraw. And if you'd watched the movie, you knew that he was after Blue Diamond, and instead he found himself only coming away with a turnip. So that was so much fun to actually take the movie and put a little character behind it. And I'll put a link to that as well, because the other crafters that took part in By Hook or By Crook made some marvelous creations to go along with the Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul. So thanks for that, Pamela. That was a really fun participation event. Right, then we all know it's F1 weekend, and we should also, if you've been watching, know that I should be working on some 8 centimeter by 8 centimeter squares, because I frogged a blanket project and decided to do that. Well, I don't even know what to say. I know this video is not coming out today on Friday. It will most probably be maybe Saturday night, maybe Sunday. It is my mom's birthday tomorrow, and sometimes even for myself, I just don't know what it is that I would like for my birthday. I feel blessed with whatever it is that I have, and usually a birthday gift would just result in a very sweet treat. I have a very big sweet tooth, but those squares were looking at me, and I was looking through my to-do list of things that I want to still make. And of course, I'll briefly show that in a second. I did start another blanket project, couldn't help it. My eldest will be making her own home soon. She's going to be leaving us, and this blanket I had to jump onto because I think it's going to be a beautiful housewarming gift. But the squares and this color that I loved for another blanket project were just staring at me. And I decided, looking through my list of things still to do, I still had another project from Gumleaf Crochet and Yarn, Joel's channel, saved to go through, and I decided I better start watching to what's the material that we're using, what is the idea between how we're putting everything together and whatnot. And I knew that it had squares, so I'm going to put a link to her haul. It was for the Australian Day that Joel crocheted her project. I'll put the whole bundle in the notes below. Head on over there. So much inspiration. And I have made my mom a handmade gift. And I know she's going to love it, because she loves all the things that we make by hand. And this is what I have. Is this gorgeous bag from those squares that I was hooking away on. I did the same because I had more squares. I did the squares at the back too. Then I used the stitch you would have made for the back of the bag to do the border all the way around. And then, as you'll see on Joel's tutorials, this bag is connected to a bag that you may already have. I think she had a canvas bag. I didn't have one around, but I have one of our reusable shopping bags. And I did crochet around the straps, so the bag is fully on here. But these straps were very short, and like some shopping bags have, they have 2 handles. I left those attached and crocheted around them, and then I just used the thermal stitch to crochet a longer strap so that you can have it. I'm going to fall over this chair. So that you can have it around your shoulder, and if need be, you could also hold on to it like that. So I'm so excited to put a little bow on this and a little card for my mom. I think she's going to love it. And these beautiful flowers that Jill has, I just put a few on, and it's like a little art piece. So this is a sign of April, I think. It's going to take us wherever it wants to take us. So there we go, folks. That's me wrapping up the first week of April to show you what I've managed to get off my hook and what I was getting into. I hope you all stay safe and have a beautiful, blessed weekend. Take care. Until I see you next time, happy crocheting.